Welcome to Neural Nexus Podcast, where we explore the hottest topics shaping the world. Let's dive in.
Ever get that creepy feeling like Siri's listening in, even when you haven't actually, said, hey, Siri?
Yeah.
Turns out those rumors about Apple maybe having to pay users because of Siri eavesdropping, that's based on a real lawsuit, a whole class action thing.
Wow.
And guess what? We've got the Forbes article right here. Apple's Siri eavesdropping payout. Here's who's eligible and how to claim.
Okay.
So we're going deep on this one.
All right. So what we're really looking at here is this whole question.
Yeah.
Was Siri recording bits and pieces of your conversations, even when you didn't actually activate it?
Right.
And then here's the even bigger question.
Okay.
Did that information, the stuff Siri picked up, end up in the hands of, like, advertisers?
Okay. So hold on. Imagine you and your friend are talking about those new Air Jordans you've been wanting. And then, bam, your phone is suddenly full of ads for them.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of freaky, right?
Definitely a little unsettling.
That's one of the things people are saying actually happen.
Yeah, and it really brings up a huge issue, this whole data privacy question.
Yeah.
Is Apple going too far? Are they just trying to improve Siri?
Right.
Or are they really infringing on people's privacy?
Because Apple is saying they're only using the data to improve Siri.
Right. They say it's all anonymous.
Yeah.
But this lawsuit's basically saying, no, not so fast.
And it's not just shoes.
Oh.
The article mentions this case, someone's talking to their doctor
Right.
about a medical procedure they need. And guess what? They start seeing ads for that specific treatment.
That's getting pretty personal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If that's true, it makes you wonder, how much is Siri really picking up on?
That's true. And it's not just Siri. Think about it.
Yeah.
Smart homes, healthcare devices. Anywhere you find these voice assistants, this could set a precedent for all of them.
That's a really good point. So, okay, who's actually eligible for a payout?
Right, the big question.
And how much are we talking about here?
Okay, so the article lays it out pretty clearly.
Okay.
If you owned an Apple device anytime between September 17th, 2014 and December 31st, 2024,
Okay.
and you were in the U.S. during that time, you could be eligible.
So that's a pretty wide range.
Yeah, a lot of people could be in line for this.
So how much could people get?
All right, they're saying $20 per device,
Okay.
up to 5 devices.
Wow, so potentially $100.
That's right. Not bad just for having an iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
The actual amount could change. It depends on how many people actually file claims.
Oh, so the more people who are eligible,
Yeah.
the smaller everyone's slice of the pie.
Exactly.
Gotcha. But even if it's not, like, a life-changing amount of money, this whole thing brings up some big questions, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what are we willing to give up in terms of privacy for the convenience of these technologies?
It's a balance, and I think a lot of people are starting to feel maybe a little uneasy about all this data being collected.
Right? Even if companies say it's for our benefit.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about what happens,
Right.
who might be eligible for this payout,
Yeah.
how much money is involved. But Apple has responded to all of this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What are they saying?
They're settling to avoid a big, messy, expensive court battle.
Okay.
But they're still saying they did nothing wrong. They insist that any data they collect is anonymized,
Right.
and it's only used to make Siri better.
Right. But some experts are saying even if you strip away names and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
true anonymization is almost impossible with this kind of data. What do you think about that?
That's a great point. It gets to the core of the issue,
Yeah.
Even if they take out our names or specific details, all that stuff that identifies us personally,
Yeah.
our voice data can still reveal a lot,
Yeah.
Think about it. The patterns in our voices, our habits, our interests, all that stuff,
Right.
that paints a pretty detailed picture of who we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where things get kind of murky, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's one thing to use anonymized data to make a service better.
Sure.
But what if that data, even without our names attached, ends up being used to target us with ads? Or even make assumptions about us that could have real-world consequences?
That's the slippery slope we're on.
Yeah.
And it's something we all need to be really careful about.
Absolutely. So where does this leave us, the average iPhone user?
Right.
Is it time to ditch Siri for good?
Well, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
Or are there ways we can, protect our privacy
Right?
and still use these cool voice assistants.
Because I love the convenience of it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's what we'll be exploring next.
Exactly. We'll dive into Apple's privacy settings for Siri.
Okay.
Talk about how you can control what data it collects.
Yeah.
And even look into some alternative voice assistants.
All
Maybe ones that prioritize user privacy.
right, sounds like we've got a lot more to uncover.
Oh, yeah, we're just getting started.
So stay tuned.
We'll be right back after the break.
It's funny, when Siri first came out, it was like magic. Asking your phone a question and getting an answer.
I know, right?
It blew my mind. But you know what I never really thought about?
What's that?
What's happening behind the scenes with all the data?
Right, yeah.
This whole case has really made me think about it.
Yeah, me too. It's easy to get caught up in how convenient it is
Totally.
and forget about the privacy stuff. But okay, let's get practical here.
Okay.
If you don't want to ditch Siri completely,
Yeah.
what can you actually do to protect your privacy?
Well, the good news is Apple gives you some control over what Siri collects.
Okay, that's good.
So if you go into your iPhone settings, find the Siri and search section.
Okay.
There's a setting there, improve Siri and dictation.
Yeah.
You can turn that off.
Okay.
And that basically stops Apple from using your voice recordings to, make Siri better.
So even though they say it's anonymized, if you're worried about privacy.
You can opt out of giving them your data in the first place.
Exactly. You have that choice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What other settings should we know about?
Oh, there's another good one. You can limit what data Siri can access from certain apps.
Oh, okay.
So let's say you're not comfortable with Siri using your location.
Mm-hmm.
You can just turn off that permission.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of control,
Yeah.
I keep hearing about these other voice assistants that are built for privacy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Have you looked into any of those?
Yeah, I have. There are some pretty interesting options out there.
Like what?
Well, there's this one that processes your voice requests locally on your device.
Okay.
So it doesn't send them to the cloud.
So your conversations aren't stored on some company server.
Exactly. That's the idea.
That does sound pretty secure.
Yeah.
But do these things actually work as well as Siri or Alexa?
That's the trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Privacy often means sacrificing some convenience.
Right.
So these smaller, privacy-focused assistants,
They might not have all the fancy features.
Okay.
but they're definitely better when it comes to data security.
So it's really about what's most important to you, right?
I think so. Do you want all the bells and whistles?
Yeah.
Even if it means giving up some privacy.
Right.
Or is data security your top priority?
Even if the voice assistant isn't quite as good.
Exactly.
You mentioned that this Siri case could be like a turning point
Yeah.
in this whole debate about voice data and privacy. What kind of changes do you think we might see because of this?
Well, I think regulators are going to take a closer look at this whole thing.
Okay.
How are companies collecting and using voice data?
Right.
We might see some stricter regulations around data collection, storage, all that.
That makes sense.
Maybe companies will have to be more transparent about what data they're collecting.
And how they're using it.
Exactly.
I think more transparency would be a really good thing.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
would give people more control over their own data.
Yeah, give them the power to make informed decisions.
But, technology changes so fast.
Oh, yeah, constantly.
What about the future? How do you see voice assistants evolving?
Well, one thing's for sure, voice is becoming a really important way to interact with technology.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, look at smart homes, cars, wearables.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And as AI gets more advanced, voice assistants will probably get even more sophisticated.
So they'll be even more integrated into our lives.
Yeah, I think so.
That's exciting, but also a little scary, to be honest.
I know what you mean. Exciting because of all the possibilities, right?
Right.
But also kind of scary because it could mean even bigger privacy risks.
Yeah, it feels like we're just starting to understand all this.
We really are. This conversation is going to keep getting more important.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean for our listener?
Well, hopefully this deep dive has given them some food for thought about Siri, voice data, and how it all affects their privacy.
We've talked about some things you can do to protect your data, like changing Siri settings.
Yeah,
And we've even talked about some other voice assistants that might be better for privacy.
exactly. But this is just the beginning.
Right.
It's so important to stay informed about this stuff.
Yeah?
How are your devices using your data?
Yeah, good question.
Take some time to explore those privacy settings.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the trade-offs between convenience and security.
Yeah.
And make choices that feel right for you.
We'll definitely link to that Forbes article in the show notes
Good idea.
so everyone can check it out. But for now, here's what we want you to remember.
Okay.
The choices we make today about how we use voice assistants and protect our data, those choices are going to shape the future of this whole technology.
Absolutely. It's a responsibility we all share.
Well said.
Yeah.
So, until next time, keep those deep dives going. You know, it's crazy, right? Just talking to our phones can lead to such a big conversation
I know.
about privacy and tech and the future.
It's pretty wild.
We've covered a lot today,
We have.
from that Siri eavesdropping case
Right.
to, like, the bigger picture of voice data and how it affects
Yeah.
our lives.
Absolutely. And I think what really hits home
Yeah.
is that this isn't just some tech issue, you know? It's about real people.
Yeah, for sure.
Their experiences, how they feel about their voices being recorded, potentially used in ways they didn't agree to.
It's true. It makes you think twice
Right?
about those random conversations you have near your phone.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you think about
Yeah.
how this data could be used, not just for ads,
Right.
but for profiling, risk assessment, decisions made by algorithms.
It's kind of like we're entering this world
Yeah.
where our voices become data points feeding into these
That's just
systems,
base hack.
and those systems are shaping our lives.
And the question is, do we have any control over it?
Right. Do we even know how it's all happening?
It's kind of unsettling when you think about it.
That's why I think this whole deep dive has been so important.
Yeah, too.
It's about making people aware,
Yeah,
having them think critically,
Ab-
giving them the tools to make smart choices about their privacy.
totally. We've talked about some practical things you can do.
Right, like those settings,
Yeah, tweaking those Siri settings.
trying out those alternative voice assistants.
Right, exactly. But beyond those individual actions,
Yeah,
what can we do about these bigger systemic issues?
that's a good question. What do you think?
Well, one thing that comes to mind
Yeah,
is stronger privacy laws,
okay.
specifically for voice data.
Makes sense.
A lot of the current laws are outdated.
Right.
Technology moves so fast.
Yeah,
We need clear rules to protect people's rights.
absolutely. And make sure companies are handling this sensitive data responsibly.
Exactly, that's key. And those rules need to be global.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Data doesn't care about borders.
Nope, it travels freely.
So we need everyone working together
Absolutely, a global framework.
to protect voice data privacy.
Exactly. And it's not just about laws either.
Okay, what else?
We need to educate people.
Right, make sure everyone understands.
Yeah, like a data literacy movement.
I like that. So people know how their data is being used.
Right. And they have the tools to make good choices.
That could involve, like, education programs, public awareness campaigns.
Definitely, even incorporating data ethics into how we design tech.
That's so important.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just tell people to be careful.
I know, right?
You need to give them the knowledge
Tools, the understanding.
to actually navigate this whole crazy data world.
It's like learning a new language.
Yeah, the language of data privacy.
So we can speak up for ourselves.
And our rights.
Exactly. And that's where everyone has a role to play.
Yeah, now you're
Talking about data privacy,
asking questions.
demanding transparency from companies.
Yeah, that's how we can shape the future of this tech.
Totally. We all have a voice in this.
So, listener, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
What really stood out to you today?
What questions do you have? We'd love to hear from you.
Remember, the choices we make today about voice assistants, about our data,
Right, those choices matter.
they'll shape the digital world for years to come.
We're all in this together.
It's a shared responsibility. That's a great way to put it. So we're going to wrap up our deep dive now
Time to come up for air.
into the world of Siri, voice data, and privacy. Keep exploring this stuff. Keep asking questions.
Keep learning. Keep those deep dives going.
We've got that Forbes article linked in the show notes.
Check it out.
Until next time.